Nobody knows the movies I've seen. I need that show on YouTube. Wait a second. If I just break out of here, I can review all the films I want. Does anybody have a rock hammer? This is Movie Night. Hello and welcome to the 5th season of Movie Night. Back in a brand new suit and tie, I'm your host, Jonathan Paula. As with every year, I took the summer off from my film reviewing to focus on other projects and enjoy my vacation, while the folks here at the TCL Chinese Theater were hard at work renovating Hollywood's most iconic picture house with a retrofitted IMAX screen and stadium seating. So welcome to the new home of Movie Night. To coincide with the release of The Escape Plan, tonight's theme will be prison films. An old one, a proper re-review of the best one, and the new one. But let's begin with The Great Escape. Released on the 4th of July in 1963, this ensemble adventure drama film tripled its $4 million budget and has remained a hit with audiences 50 years later. Featuring composite characters and taking artistic liberties, the story is otherwise decently faithful to the real-life escape attempt by dozens of Allied forces from a German POW camp during World War II. The all-star cast features Steve McQueen, who is, as always, the master of cool, an ambitious and impatient American who spends a majority of the picture attempting escapes and getting locked in the cooler. Also starring is a young James Garner as the Scrounger, Donald Pleasance as the prisoner's resident forger, Charles Bronson as their chief tunnel digger, Richard Attenborough as the overseer of the entire escape endeavor, and a host of other male actors playing both the good guys and the bad. The otherwise talented cast hardly does more than joke around and deliver exposition, though. When initially detained, the ranking British officer dutifully reminds his captor it is the sworn duty of all officers to try to escape. It's this quaint, civilized understanding between the Allies and the Germans that makes the dynamics of this picture more playful and lighthearted than other prison films, as everyone maintains their composure and respect for each other. Director John Sturges stays friendly with slow-moving anamorphic wide shots, which, although typical for the period, rarely elicit any excitement. Although seldom used, composer Elmer Bernstein's theme is certainly an iconic one, an upbeat and whimsical tune that only begins to suggest the amount of mayhem our heroes plan to cause. The prisoners unashamedly make brazen and frequent escape attempts, testing the guards' response and weaknesses. Their ingenious solutions to various problems is terrific fun, like shaking dirt out of their pant legs to blend it in with the lighter color topsoil to avoid arousing suspicion.
You fill these bags with the dirt from the tunnel. Then, wearing them inside your trousers, you wander out into the compound, where you pull these strings in your pockets. Out come the pins. Eric, it's good. All you have to do is kick it in. Unless you're a complete fool, the ferrets will never see a thing.
It's indecently brilliant. What do you think, Roger?
We'll try it first thing tomorrow.
I already have. It works.
At 2 hours and 52 minutes, this picture, much like its mammoth cast, is perhaps larger than necessary, especially considering the lengthy runtime isn't used to develop any of the main characters beyond a cursory level. Slow-moving and tame by today's standards, this film was given the equivalent of a PG rating, and is surprisingly family-friendly for a war picture. With no less than 6 parallel narratives, the final act of this movie takes things in a new direction, and is a bit darker in tone than the preceding material, but remains decidedly enjoyable in multiple viewings, especially McQueen's daring motorcycle escape chase. Despite its faults, this is a fun and inspirational story for all ages that holds up remarkably well a half-century later. The Great Escape is perfect escapist cinema, fascinating story. With the first review of Season 5 down, now let's take a look at what you thought about this film in the YouTube comments. And now with the help of the newest redesign of Movie Night's trademark Rate-O-Matic, our scores for The Great Escape. 2 8s. You love the A-list cast and World War II story, you thought this film was great. This movie has it where it counts and is plenty entertaining because of it. As its name suggests, I thought it was great too. Next up tonight is The Shawshank Redemption. Released nationwide in October of 1994, this $25 million drama film directed by Frank Darabont unfortunately failed to earn much of a profit, and was initially considered a flop. Thanks to especially strong word of mouth, it became the most rented home video of 1995 though, and its frequent broadcasts on basic cable have since made the 142-minute picture an American classic, and IMDb's #1 top-rated film of all time. The R-rated story, based on the novella Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption by acclaimed writer Stephen King, follows Tim Robbins, an innocent banker from Maine serving consecutive life sentences in the titular prison. During his decades on the inside, he bonds with the wise Morgan Freeman in an Oscar-nominated role, whose booming narration ties together the lengthy narrative. William Sadler, Gil Bellows, and elderly character actor James Whitmore round out the unique group of fellow ex-cons. Robbins also faces off against a host of devilish adversaries, a violent gang of prison rapists led by Mark Ralston, Clancy Brown as an uncompromising and sadistic guard, and Bob Gunton in perhaps his most iconic role as the positively despicable and corrupt warden of the penitentiary, who has no issue leveraging Robbins' banking talents for financial gain, only to turn around and toss him in a dark cell for months at a time. The portrayal of these inspirational and frightening characters is accompanied with the highest caliber of skill from all involved, including a particularly poignant scene when Robbins realizes his mantra for survival: get busy living or get busy dying. Set during the mid-20th century, the allegorical tale of hope and freedom organically meanders from one interesting vignette to the next. It could be argued that many smaller arcs could be excised for a leaner plot, but it's these personal moments that build such a rich and moving tapestry, especially a sequence focusing on Whitmore's release from prison as an old man, struggling to deal with the psychological consequences of being institutionalized his entire adult life. Or Robbins' small act of defiance when he plays a portion of Mozart's Marriage of Figaro opera over the prison's PA system, facing certain punishment in the process.
It was like some beautiful bird flapped into our drab little cage and made those walls dissolve away. And for the briefest of moments, every last man at Shawshank felt free. It pissed the warden off something awful.
Open the door. I am warning you, Dufresne, turn that off!
The period-authentic vernacular is laced with inventive phrases and colorful insults, allowing for more than a few lighter moments in an otherwise somber picture. Not to be understated is Oscar-nominated cinematographer Roger Deakins' work behind the lens, masterfully filling the 16:9 frame with sweeping shots of the beautiful stone prison, shot on location in Mansfield, Ohio. Every shot is so meticulously crafted, showcasing the lights, shadows, and emotion of every scene so perfectly, it's a wonder production actually finished ahead of schedule. The strings-heavy soundtrack from Thomas Newman is an atmospheric and moody one, swelling to full volume during the film's spectacularly glorious final act, one of the best in cinema history. A marvelous technical achievement in every facet. It's a true shame that this near-flawless piece of storytelling did not win any of its 7 Oscar nominations, losing many of them, including a Best Picture nomination, to Forrest Gump, which, as incredible as it is, was perhaps the less deserving film that year. An effortlessly immersive and satisfying experience that is enjoyable on every viewing, The Shawshank Redemption is a triumphant masterpiece of filmmaking. Now let's hear some of your reviews from the YouTube comments. Our scores now for The Shawshank Redemption. 2 10s. No real surprise here. The film has remained affixed atop IMDb's top 250 list for good reason. This is a remarkable and supremely enjoyable movie. Praise was unanimous for all points. So rarely does a fictional story inspire as much as this one. It gets an almost perfect score from me, an easy amazing. One of my favorite movies. Before tonight's final review, let's take a quick commercial break. Following a name change and months of production delays, the movie that finally teamed up Hollywood's 2 biggest action stars was finally released nationwide on October 18, 2013. Produced on a budget of $70 million by Swedish filmmaker Michael Hofstrom, I can only hope this picture does better than similar films these days. Ostensibly nothing more than a 115-minute vehicle to get Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger on screen in their first true co-starring role together, this picture honestly accomplishes more than it needed to. Stallone stars as a professional escape artist who intentionally incarcerates himself for months at a time, only so he can find weaknesses from within maximum security prisons and report back to his clients. The unlikely but intriguing premise begins with a cold open showcasing Stallone's unique talents in action, before he's kidnapped and sent to, you guessed it, a supposedly escape-proof prison. It's inside this curiously designed airplane hangar-sized prison that he meets and befriends Arnie, and seeing these two old action dinosaurs duke it out is a true delight, especially when the former governor chides, "You hit like a vegetarian." Never known for their acting chops, the two brawny men still do a convincing job in the lead roles, and play off each other with ease. Jim Caviezel plays a sharply dressed stereotypical asshole warden, Sam Neill is briefly featured as the prison's conflicted doctor, and Curtis 50 Cent Jackson attempts to keep his acting career afloat with a small supporting role as a wise-talking tech guru.
8 seconds.
I could draw you a map. You know, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be an artist.
Oh my God.
Problem was, I had no talent.
6 seconds.
I tried, and I tried, and I tried.
5.
Do you have dreams?
4.
Or did you always want to be this?
2. 1.
Done. Look. There. I told you. No talent.
Plot holes aplenty, things are far more confusing and complicated than necessary, but individual sequences actually work really well here, like Schwarzenegger distracting guards by shouting in German so Stallone can slip out of his solitary confinement cell undetected. From Sly's heavy punches to Arnold's chain gun shooting spree, fans of the old school action genre will definitely have fun with the picture as it harkens back to iconic moments of yesteryear. The music, sound effects, and visuals are hardly noteworthy, but Hofstrom's directing occasionally impressed, balancing extreme close-ups with time-ramped wide shots and a frantic montage. Although it gets credit for its original, non-sequel premise, if not for the big-name talent, this is nothing more than a leisurely paced action film with few surprises. But that said, I wouldn't mind watching this again if I caught it on basic cable while flipping channels. The Escape Plan. Shallow excitement for action fans. Right to the Rate-O-Matic now with a 6. For a film that was essentially 30 years in the making, I definitely was hoping for more, but I still enjoyed the experience for what it was. I thought it was good. Lastly tonight, let's take a look at other movies currently playing in theaters with some of your tweet critiques. It's hard to believe this section of the theater used to be underground. But anyway, if you see a new movie in theaters, make sure to tweet your review with the JPMN hashtag to have it featured on the show. And be sure to follow me on Twitter or Facebook for updates between episodes and to help decide upcoming reviews. Next week, to celebrate Halloween, we'll be reviewing 3 slasher classics: 1978's Halloween, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and finally, the original Friday the 13th. I kicked off this season of Movie Night a couple weeks early just for this occasion, so I hope you can join me by watching these scary movies. And once you have seen them, share your opinion by voting in the polls below or by leaving a comment review. And please subscribe to the Movie Night Archive channel for my exclusive trailer commentaries and an organized library of every review we've done on the show to date. Once again, my name is Jonathan Paula. It is good to be back hosting Movie Night. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope to see you right back here for the next episode.